tonight, relief for our struggling farmers as Broken Hill gets more rain overnight than they've had all year. And progress is flowing on a $12 million pipeline to the mid-north township of Orroroo.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. There's been relief for drought-stricken farmers in Broken Hill after a heavy downpour overnight. The far west of New South Wales saw more rain in a matter of minutes than they've seen all year. Patrick Reinke joins me now from the Silver City. And Pat, the weather was wild.
Yeah, that's right, Abby. Up to 40 millimetres of rain drenched Broken Hill, the most we've had in a long time. Some surrounding towns received even higher rainfall as a massive thunderstorm ripped through the region. Broken Hill was also hit by a post-apocalyptic dust storm yesterday afternoon, which carpeted the mining city in a brown haze. These pictures were taken on top of the line of load moments before the dust covered the area. Later in the night, just after 6 o'clock, the storm hit hard. $30 millimetres fell in just 10 minutes, leaving streets completely flooded. Wind gusts of over 100 kilometres an hour brought down trees and blew away bins. Flashes of lightning lit up the night sky while locals did their best to wade through the flooded roads. A number of homes were left without power. The SES received 24 calls for help during the chaos, including this call out to a car that was driven into the William Street roadworks. Fortunately, there was no significant damage caused by the storm. In the surrounding townships, Towndale received 33 millimetres, Menindee 50 and Pooncarie 53. A lot of country roads are still closed today due to the sodden conditions. The rain is a welcome relief for our struggling farmers who likely saw more rain in 2 hours than the whole year.
We had a lot of wind with the storm last night and no damage was done. Yeah, it's just bloody fantastic. It's great. Yeah.
It's like Christmas when you drive up to a bank of a dam and you see water in there, so it's good.
Now, Abby, while the recent downpour was well received, I'm sure many people out here in the far west will be hoping there's more to come.
Thanks, Pat. Let's hope the rain keeps on coming. Meantime, the state opposition says more medical professionals are needed to help support those affected by drought conditions. They're calling on the government to send mental health counsellors into the regions and follow the lead of other states.
This year's dry conditions are not only damaging for crop yields, but are also having a big impact on community health. While farmers themselves are looking out for each other, there's fears some doing it tough will slip through the cracks.
Been a number of people that have spoken to me about some people in their community that they feel might be under some pressure.
Last week, the state government announced family and business scouts would be deployed in at-risk regions. But Mr Hughes says that's not enough. The opposition is proposing to send 4 farmgate counsellors out into rural parts of SA.
But you need that additional step of having people with professional expertise, because some people might need that professional expertise.
Mr Hughes says service providers are ready to go.
They indicated that they would like to be involved, and they do have professionals out in country areas.
In a statement, Primary Industry Minister Tim Whetstone says sending professionals out into regions has its challenges due to the culture in some country areas. They said their approach has been developed in response to what residents think would work best for them. Remember, if you or someone you know needs help, contact Lifeline on 131 114. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Progress on a new pipeline to Orroroo is flowing smoothly as the country town historically connects itself to the state's water system. The $12 million project will improve the quality of drinking water from the Murray River.
It's a glass half full moment for Orroroo, with the town being able to access a fresh supply of water. Historically, locals have been dependent on groundwater sourced from the Walloway Basin and have been patiently waiting for some time.
The line is extending from Peterborough to Orroroo. It's approximately 36 kilometres.
SA Water boasts the region will now have access to the best drinking water the state has to offer, Many may find this information much easier to swallow, seeing as Orroroo has had high levels of salinity within their original supply.
As I said, it's certainly not a health concern. It's really just a taste issue. So this will see the water quality to Orroroo drop to less than 600 milligrams per litre.
Commuters may expect some roadworks over the coming months as the pipeline is laid out. The project involves installing the majority of pipe within road verges on route following Petersburg Road, R.M. Williams Way, Bennekick Road and Minabara Road, with some minor boring required under the existing railway line. The pipeline is expected to be completed just in time for Christmas. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
The Elliston community on the West Coast has been battling with unreliable coverage for years. But today, a multi-million-dollar upgrade to the network was switched on and the community couldn't be happier.
A small coastal community which used to give up on using the internet can finally connect to the online world.
It's a really significant project, probably one of the biggest communication projects on the Eyre Peninsula in the last decade.
Before the upgrade occurred, it was just so slow. It was a real catchphrase that if you want your kids to get off the internet, bring them to Elliston, because they couldn't be on it. It was so slow.
And the new speeds get a tick of approval.
Speeds used to be 0.02 megabits per second. Doing the speed test at work, it's up to 40, 50 megabits per second download now.
The project has been a long time coming, requiring a huge funding boost.
We've actually put in 48 kilometres of optic fibre from Woodner, a new radio system. We've upgraded 5 transmission sites, and that all rolls off the tongue pretty quickly, but it's a pretty expensive project to actually undertake.
The $4 million project made possible with $1.3 million from the Building Better Regions Fund, $2.5 million from Telstra and the local council pitching in $80,000, leaving many to suggest it was worth every penny to put Elliston back on the map for tourists to visit.
But one thing you can be sure of is if we didn't do it, they were going to lose tourists,
Quite huge, I can see people are impressed already, and we haven't even got into our busy times.
It's a fantastic result to get modern telecommunications into a small town like Elliston, and it'll benefit everyone.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, Port Augusta prepares to paint the town pink as part of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Arno Bay local Mad Mick rolls his ute full of cow skulls into Port Lincoln, and it's all for a good cause. Welcome back. Port Augusta is preparing to paint the town pink this weekend as part of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The jam-packed day will not only raise funds for research, but also create a visual show of support for local families experiencing breast cancer.
In their lifetime, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer across Australia. And these two Port Augusta sisters saw firsthand the effect the disease was having on their hometown.
It went from me not knowing anyone with breast cancer to knowing 5 people with breast cancer in a matter of months.
From the workplace to their social circles, Tiffany and Chantel Oldfield witnessed breast cancer taking hold of those around them.
It was kind of scary, and it was kind of like, I haven't really been checking, so maybe other people haven't been.
The two decided to do something about it and have kick-started the inaugural Paint Port Augusta Pink event.
We have pink everything. We have pink vanilla slice, pink Rice Krispie treats. We have some pink drinks available on the day.
As well as cupcake cook-offs and the Prettiest Pink Outfit Awards. The bright coloured info day will also feature talks from nutritionists, breast care nurses and survivors. And organisers say there's a particular importance for men to come along and don the pink too.
One, they may know someone who's suffering from breast cancer, but also breast cancer does affect men as well.
It all kicks off at 10 a.m. Sunday at Mayhem Fitness, with all the proceeds going to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Final works are being completed on a new cafe at the Whyalla Wetlands, built entirely from shipping containers.
Rob North was in the Riverland when he first came across a cafe built inside a shipping container.
Doing some work up in the Riverland, and I saw one up there, and that's where I got the idea. And yeah, come home.
A few years on, he and his family will run their own version at the Whyalla Wetlands, called Something Tasty. It'll open its doors to the public next Monday. Rob, his mum and his children, along with a handful of other staff, will take advantage of the growing foot traffic.
Driving past all the time and just seeing how many people use the area and just seeing what the council have done upgrading it, and it sort of looks awesome.
Council have also helped upgrade the amenities and are looking at adding extra parking spaces. CEO Chris Cowley says its location on the Lincoln Highway will make it popular with tourists.
One, enjoy the facilities, but again, get them to stop and spend money and invest in Whyalla.
Mr Cowley has also praised the unique design of the building.
It's a testament to the owners where they've thought outside the box, as it were.
Rob says plans are full steam ahead to turn this into a community hotspot.
Kids' parties with jumping castles at night time and maybe some cinema nights. And just a few different things with some local music.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill City Council has been forced to change the operating hours of the local library. Council had previously decided to start closing the building at 4 o'clock on weekdays to allow staff more time to complete planning and maintenance work. While beneficial to staff, many community members, especially school children, were left disadvantaged. The backlash has seen Council make a change.
So the council has listened and has changed the hours from 9 till 4 and has changed it to 10 to 6 from Monday to Thursday. On Friday it will be 10 till 5.
The library's new operating hours will be reviewed in February. If you've spotted a big red F truck filled with cow skulls on South Aussie roads, you weren't imagining things. We caught up with Mad Mick on why he set out on his skullduggery tour across Australia.
No, it's not Mick Dundee, it's Mad Mick from Arno Bay. With his 1970s F100, 350 cow skulls and spare bull's teeth to share, Mick has just travelled 4,500 Ks over 17 days.
It's about having fun, meeting lots of different people. I've had people do U-turns to sort of like follow me until I stop somewhere.
Mick has been collecting skulls from a young age, and when a small town butcher in Queensland offered to supply hundreds of bull skulls, he took to the road. In his travels through New South Wales, he couldn't believe his eyes with the drought and wanted to raise awareness about the tough conditions.
You could see the cattle were skinny, and yeah, it was very dry once you sort of got to New South Wales all the way. People pull me over and say, yeah, don't forget the drought's on, because that's all farmers see in their paddocks is skulls.
But mostly the trip was about having fun, and Mick stumbled upon some newfound fame during a stopover in Silverton.
And I showed them and they said, oh, we're doing an outback travel show. We'd love that thing to be in it's what you see in Broken Hill. So I came out the next day for them to do that. And then they tell me they're doing episodes for Neighbours.
This is the final stop here in Port Lincoln for Mick's tour, but he's had so much fun along the way, he's considering collecting a new batch of skulls to do it all over again. Casey Treloar, Southern Cross News.
What a character. Good on you, Mick. Well, stay with us. After the break, we'll have fish and tips. And in the weather, farmers around Broken Hill may be rejoicing after a huge downpour of rain, but is it here to stay? I'll have all the local weather details next. Time now to see what's biting around the Gulf.
Welcome to another week around the Gulf fishing tips. From Port Broughton around where people have got their bag limit to some that didn't even get any. But King George whiting is still there, salmon is still there, not so big at this particular moment, and also the squid is still at the Port Broughton area. If you just mirror that around to anywhere around the Port Davis area, you should find yourself King George whiting still there as well in the little deeper passages, and the squid will start to come through in that range. When we move around to Port Pirie, the other things that are happening are more likely salmon. We've got some little panties floating around the place, but I'm saying to you at this moment it's the time to load up your wrecks and get them active so that you will have an opportunity when bans and all that are all finished.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fish Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, it certainly changes season. It's changed by the day. Hot one day, cold the next. So it's providing a real mixed bag out there. Silver whiting along the shacks on those big high tides in the morning. On the big low tides, there's actually some really nice razorfish down on the shacks and also out in the middle banks there too. So nice big flathead getting caught out a little bit deeper out in the weed along the blue line in front of the shacks. Salmon, as always this time of year, they're pretty well up around the creeks and that, and you get a feed of those. King George whiting is still there. There's a lot of little ones in amongst them, but the ones you are getting are fairly big. That's all we have for the Jewel of the North.
Hi, Whalers Fishing Report this week. Land-based across Whale, there's been some great sized salmon still coming in from the Black Point coastline. If you work the fence line alongside of Santos, that's been the best spot. Really good sized salmon along there. Also in front of the Point Lowly Lighthouse, there's been some great sized salmon there too. King George whiting out in the boats are absolutely everywhere. After the bad tides this week and the wind that we've had, it should be a really good weekend for chasing whiting. Squid are starting to thin out in front of Mount Young, and the snapper front across Whyalla after the blow. There should be a few snap around. Definitely get out and work those drops, guys.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Lincoln. The school holidays are here and there's plenty of action around the Lower Eyre Peninsula at the moment, so there's plenty of time to get the kids out there amongst it. Starting around Port Lincoln, there's been some squid around the town jetty. Also Snooks Landing, Snapper Point and Axel Stenros have all been producing some squid too. Also a good attraction for the kids is the salmon trout and Tommies down at the town wharf. Plenty of burleys needed down there, so get a block of pilchards before you head down. Also a similar story out at Coffin Bay around the town jetty there. Plenty of pilchards down there and you'll get the salmon trout and Tommies around there and the kids should have a ball. That's about it for this week. We'll see you all again next week.
And time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Well, after a heavy downpour in Broken Hill, which we so desperately needed, we saw some mostly fine conditions today. 20 was the max there, while it was a mix of sunshine and cloud around all other centres too, with temps reaching the high teens to low 20s. On the satellite, thick cloud with a low pressure trough is triggering rain over northern parts of SA and thunderstorms in the east. Low cloud over the south is producing a few showers. Taking a look at the waters tomorrow, southeasterly shifting southwesterly winds up to 20 knots, seas at 2 metres and the sun will pop up at 5:53 on the dot. To the Friday forecast now and nothing but sunshine for most centres, warming up slightly too. Port Augusta and Woodner heading for a top of 24 degrees. 23 is going to be the max for Broken Hill and Port Pirie. Taking a look at the weekend forecast, and it's only set to get hotter with temps climbing into the mid-20s for Cleve. A cloudy day forecast for Port Lincoln on Saturday, 20 the max, and a warm one for Woodner, 31 the top by Monday. And it's fining up for the weekend here too, and temps will soar into the low 30s for Port Augusta, 31 the max for Sunday, hello summer, and a similar story for Whyalla, 28 the top for Sunday and into next week, and pleasant conditions for Kadina, warming up to 26 degrees by Monday. And after a whole lot of rain in Broken Hill, it looks like fine conditions for the next few days, warming up to 29 degrees for Monday. Sunny and warm in Port Pirie, 29 the max on Sunday and Monday as well, and lovely conditions forecast for Clare. So it's looking like a great weekend weather-wise, and that's all from the team this Thursday. Thanks for your company. Good night.